It's Red Bull. You can tell when I had some. I will, but it's not right now.
Come on now.
I need this.
They see the screenshot circle.
Yeah. What is that in the shop? It's Kool-Aid. You can't tell. You just taking a pic. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm live now.
I guess I knew that. Okay, so we're back. Let me move my knees. Everybody in the viewer world, this is your boy Big Business here live at the State of Health of Hip Hop. I want y'all to be able to see that sign. We're here in the building, we're streaming live, and we're here with the artist who's performing tomorrow. And it's more than an artist. He is a addiction survivor, and he is an empowerer to the people. Real talk. Real talk. So we're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
I've had you on previous shows. This is a little special. This is a little special because I think it's something that people are afraid to discuss. It's a situation where people go through things and they don't want to feel vulnerable about not meeting the expectation of life. You know, I think everybody has a different expectation of what they want for themselves. And when we start to not look like we're going to meet it, you know, it's a low place. You know, depression, substance abuse, suicidal thoughts. And it's all that kind of stuff that you know you hear about in those rap lyrics, and you know every damn word. Every word. And it's not that you know that word because you just want to know the lyrics. It's because you can relate to the place that they've been, whether you said it or thought it. And we have Rival here, and he has those types of powerful lyrics. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad to have you here. Just tell everybody in the crowd and our viewers out there a little bit about what you do and how you came to this point in your career.
So, as an artist, you know, I've been doing this for the last 5 or 6 years now. But what prompted me to become an artist was, one, that I always wanted to be, but I always had that fear of rejection, fear of not being accepted, just not being good enough. But what happened is I got clean in in October of 2011, and after I had about a year clean, some people that I'm in a fellowship with heard my stuff, and they were like, you should do something with that. And I was like, no, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. And they pushed me into doing it, and it's been part of my recovery as well. You know what I'm saying? So, and I am a survivor of addiction. You know, all I have is today, clean. You see what I'm saying? Like, I do this just for today. Like, I can't sit here in this room and say, man, I can't have a drink for the rest of my life, because that's not realistic. I can't sit here and say, I'll never have a drink again. But for today, I'm not going to have a drink. And that's how I've gained 6.5 years clean. As of tomorrow, I'll have 6.5 years.
And
Congratulations.
I think, yeah, definitely congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I think I appreciate the vulnerability and the authenticity in what you're saying, because we walk around thinking we have more than today. You ain't guaranteed tomorrow. You can get that call right now. Get on I-4, get on 75, and it's lights out. And when we have those experiences that kind of change how we view things, it's funny how near-death experiences change how you look at things. Now, I'm going to go a little bit deep.
Let's go.
Did you have one of those types of experiences? See, this is the stuff we don't talk about. This is the type of stuff we have nightmares about, that we don't talk about. We hide it and pretend like it's good. Somebody says, hey, how you doing? I'm all right. No, you're really not all right. But we have to hide it and put on that mask like everything's cool. You know? So is there an experience that you had that kind of made you realize, oh man, I'm too close to the edge, man. Like,
Yeah,
this really could be it if I don't do something.
absolutely. For instance, I remember before I got clean, it was June of 2011, early June of 2011. And I had been in and out of a 12-step program, in and out. And I was, for some reason, one night I was journaling, and I wrote in the journal, like, if I don't get help, if I don't stop, I'm gonna die. That was like my thing. And like a week later, I got clean. Well, I started to get clean. And I started on my journey of recovery.
Now, I want to follow up on that question. You said journaling. Because a lot of people who do music and hip-hop, they have to express themselves and get what's inside out. And they feel some kind of catharsis through that process. You feel like what you had inside, I'm able to put it on pad, so at least I can get some of that out. And maybe somebody can relate to the struggle. Maybe somebody will like this story. Maybe somebody will kind of understand where I'm coming from. For you, was that writing more for a journaling piece, or was that more for, I'm going to use this later to do something?
Not necessarily that particular piece was ever used in which now I may use it now, but that particular was like just journaling about what was going on at that moment and needing to get out, like saying it out loud, like if I don't get help, I'm gonna die. Because of the stuff that I was doing, it was a near-death experience almost every time, you know? I'm just, by the grace of God, I'm sitting here right now, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I was willing to come and do this, because, you know, I get to do this, if that makes any sense. Because I went through what I went through in addiction, and, you know, by God gracing me to get out of it, like, I'm here to, like, sit here and tell you guys, like, it's no fun. The stuff that, you know, and I'm not here to, like, have a debate about, like, what's on in the music and stuff like that today, but the stuff that's being talked about, it's, like, glorifying the stuff that people are dying over, if that makes sense. You know, I'm on the other side of that.
Right. And I think one thing, and see, this is where it's controversial, because I don't condemn, and I want to say this and I mean this, I don't condemn anybody's story. I don't condemn anybody's story because that's their reality. Gangster rap, trap music, all of that came from their reality, okay? But at a certain point, do you have what it takes to change your story? What your reality is? I mean, you think about a Jay-Z. Jay-Z was in the streets grinding, doing what he needed to do, but at a certain point he had to say, you know what, I need to do something that isn't so dangerous that I can actually feed my family and come home and not be worried about looking over my shoulder. And I think that's the point that people get to, but by the time they get there, they don't really have a love for the music anymore. They're kind of like, oh, I'm gonna leave hip-hop alone right now because I got a family now. Hip-hop need family music. It don't just need that trap stuff, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people, you know, used to like Will Smith when he was doing Fresh Prince and that and the other. But the thing about it is, people are watching what you do. Rob, I've seen people come to your concert and have that look in their eye like, if I didn't come here, I would be getting high right now. I would be getting high right now. Because, yeah, I think that's why you have such a strong following audience, because they relate to what you're saying because you've been through something and you got through it. And that follows, I have a question to follow up, because you kind of discussed the lows. What was it that kind of helped you climb out of the pit?
Well, for one, is what I said when I realized that if I don't get help, I'm gonna die. You know, knowing that there was a place to go, like a 12-step recovery program that I've been in and out of. I knew that there was a place that if I was going to get clean, it could be there. So I found myself going back to that place again, and I started on this journey of recovery. And that's, I mean, really just having that, like, here's the deal. You're not going to stop unless you're done. You know, and I had had enough. I had had enough. Like, if you love me, you pay the price. And I said that in my music. If you love me, you pay the price. I lied, cheat, stole, manipulated, whatever I could do to get the next one. That was it. It was all about the dope every day, every waking moment. The never-ending stream of thoughts about getting high was what it was about. Everything went to the dope. Any extra money, any money I could steal, anything went to the dope. You know, and this is cliche, and I'll just say this, like, I would steal your wallet and help you look for it kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, like, getting into the fellowship that I'm in, the 12-step program, like, I started going to meetings every day. That's what I did. Like, I had to switch my mentality. Like, I had to chase my recovery like I chased my dope, right? So I did whatever it took to get high. So I was doing whatever it took to get clean. So I would go to a meeting or 2 or 3 a day in the beginning, and just by doing that, my life continually started getting better, right? And then, you know, hours turned to days, days turned to weeks, weeks turned to months, months turned to years, and you know, there was, you know, a lot of ups and downs. We learned to live on life's terms. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times as addicts or people in general use to mask their feelings. You know what I mean? Or to feel different. You know what I'm saying? Or like, you know, you go somewhere and you don't know how to act, but once you have a drink, you feel loose. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And a couple more questions, because I mean, for people who are out there, don't think if you make a comment or have a question that we're not going to go back later and address those questions, because I want to encourage you to actually comment or add, because the thing about the computer that's beautiful is the message is going to be traveling around the world. You never know what this can have an impact, okay? In this building there might be 20, 30 people, but there might be somebody in Bangladesh, there might be somebody in Australia, there might be somebody in Los Angeles who can hear this message. And we see you and we're trying to reach you. People in Florida who didn't come out, anywhere from Jacksonville to Miami. I know this message is going to reach somebody. So if you need help, if you need inspiration, if you need inspirational music for somebody who's been through that struggle, look this man up. Rival, please tell me your information as well.
You can find me anywhere on social media at Rival727 or the website Rival727.com. Please, if you're out there and you're struggling or anything, you can direct message me on any of my social media outlets and contact me directly, and we can talk a little bit more about the 12-step program that I'm in.
Okay, and you can't play this black. Please share it. If you don't need that help yourself, share it on your page to somebody who may need that help.
Right.
You don't know what is going to grow unless you plant the seed. And right now, what we're doing here is planting the seeds for something that can grow. That's a beautiful thing, and it doesn't cost you anything to share a post. It doesn't cost you anything. So I'm not asking you to spend money right now. I'm just asking you to share the information to someone who may need it.
That's what's up.
So, Rival, I know you're performing as well at 5-Star Dive Bar at Ybor.
Yes, sir.
Tone Capone is going to be hosting. So that's going to be, I already know, high energy, great event. And I want you to speak in terms of, when I talk to people, sometimes I have a thing in my head. It could be a colleague, it could be a student, it could be any different variety of things. I talk to them as if I'm not going to see them for a while, because you never know what message can carry forth if you speak in terms of what you see for that person. For that person who may be struggling, may be headed down that wrong road, and they don't see it yet, but they got to have it, they know they got to have it, but they're still calling it a habit. But it's a little bit more than a habit, because social, that's the thing, sometimes people socially drinking is accepted. Social drug use, there's really no discrimination. People smoke weed now and it's legal, you know, it's okay now, but before, so you can't look to society to define what addiction is. You have to look inside yourself to really say, I got a problem. Straight up, I have a problem with this. Whatever it is, it could be lean, it could be blow, it could be heroin, it could be alcohol. You have to know when you think you have a problem. Okay? I mean, I understand some people, you know, drink, have a good time, and as long as you feel like it's a situation where you are not out of control, I'm not saying don't live right. Wine put on earth for a reason. It's okay to do that. You know, I'm not trying to condemn anybody, but you do need to know when, you know, it's going a little bit too far. That person who might be going a little too far, because addiction can be anything.
Absolutely.
It can be anything. People want to put it all on substances. There's people who are addicted to sex. There's people who are addicted to food. There's some people who are addicted to alcohol. There's people who are addicted to attention. These self-filters, everybody. Hey, why do you think we're talking to the camera more than the people? Because you know the message is going to get to the people faster through the camera than through this room. Because everybody's just looking for the next thing. The next thing to try, the next thing to do, the next thing to try to assimilate, but these people don't like you. You're going to have to be okay with you. You're going to have to be okay with you. So you're going to have to get to that point where you admit that you have a problem. That person who may have a problem or a habit that's starting to get out of control but they're in denial, what would you say to that person?
I mean, I would say, are you done? That would be a question. I mean, that's kind of a broad, very broad, but you know, someone who may be thinking that they have a problem, but maybe not ready to admit it. There is a very strong freedom in admitting that I'm an addict. Like once I was able to admit that, like I felt free. Like I was like, man, and they say this stuff, and I know that we're brought up to like to think this is a sign of weakness, but like we surrender, you know, to the disease of addiction to win. Like surrender to win. And I know that we're brought up like, you know, giving up is for, you know,
cowards.
for wussies or whatever the case may be, but like in the being an addict, like we surrender to win, like we give up, like I'm done, I can't do this anymore. You know, I mean, I could sit here and talk about recovery all day and all that stuff, and like I said, if anybody out there that has questions or doesn't know where to go to get help, like you can directly contact me, and I'm willing to, you know, show you where I go or what I do or, you know, the meetings that I go to or whatever.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any question?
Yes, I do. So you said that you had tried recovery prior to the final time.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? What was the last final things? And then I know you said you wrote in the book. Was it the thought of death, or was it something that occurred within your life with other people that caused you to say, okay, you know what?
Well, I think a lot of it is one, knowing that like for a long time I knew that I needed to stop. I just couldn't. I was using against my will. It was like I said, I was just using because I was controlled by the dope. But you know that the writing in the journal, realizing it, and just how I felt about myself, the guilt and the shame, and you know, hurting my friends and my family. That was probably the biggest thing is my friends and my family, you know, growing up with all these people. When I was born into life with morals and values and taught all these things, but when it's all about the dope, those things go out the window. So it was really about how I felt about myself, knowing deep down inside that I had a problem, knowing that there was a place that I could go to get help, and you know, doing it for myself, one, but also, you know, the other motivation is, you know, my family. You know, tired of, you know, living that way.
And I do want to follow up on that. Did you see death? Like, was that something that, I mean, I know you wrote it
I
down.
see death around the corner.
Hey.
Right.
Hey.
You know, sometimes you have visions of what could happen if you keep going this way.
Well,
was it like that?
Well, here's the deal. When you're in that, I mean, even people that may not be addicts in this room keep hearing about people ODing and dying from the disease of addiction or whatever the case may be. Like that was happening a lot around me, and like I said, like you know, and a lot of people go to jail and stuff. Like jail is not a part of my story for some reason, and also ODing and dying is obviously isn't a part of my story. But you know, that was a scary, you know, scary thing for me. You know.
Okay.
And I wanted to add to that as well. I know you have a prior engagement we need to get to, but I want to speak to the people who may feel like, and I mean this because everybody has a problem. Say what you want. Everybody has a problem. It's Are you gonna try to do something about the problem, or do you actually think it's a problem? Because if you don't think it's a problem, you ain't gonna do nothing about it. It might not be addiction, but it might be something that you need to stop doing. And the thing is, the truth of the story is, a lot of people have been them same roads that you talking about on the way to a better place. On the way to a better place, but if you don't get off that road, you're gonna end up going down a different, you know what I'm saying, a different corridor. And sometimes you can't get back on that main one.
I got two questions for you. One for me and one in general, right? The question for me is, I've tried doing journal, but just about my life, because I want to learn how to use proper grammar and all that. How do you keep adding to your journal every day? Because like I've done 2 notebooks and I've quit. I'm like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to write today. And how do you keep from stopping? How do you keep writing every day or every other day or however it is?
Well, first and foremost, to be quite honest, like I spoke about that journal, that was in the beginning. Like, however, I do journal once in a while. That is not like a thing that I do on a daily basis. I wish I did, because it's really to get my thoughts out. That would be a way. But I mean, if I had to give you a suggestion to keep on that, I would, give yourself 10 minutes a day and try to do that. Just make the time.
I have a reminder on my phone. Right, 10 minutes.
There you go.
But it doesn't work.
Stop being lazy.
And my second question is a general question. Have you ever heard of, or have you yourself ever been a functioning addict? You know what
Absolutely.
that is? Okay, how does that work, or how do you break from that? Because I know some people where like they can literally go every single day, go to work, come home, be with their family, and I'm like, how does that work? But they got time to go do whatever they got to do. You feel me?
Right. No, I do. A lot of me not admitting I was an addict for a long time was because I was functioning. Because I was doing whatever it took to get the dope, I had to go to work. If I didn't go to work, I didn't get high. So like I made sure that I functioned. Plus it was like a thing in my head like, well, I still have a job. I still have a place to go and live. Like it made it easier for me to keep using.
To think it's not such a bad thing.
Right.
So how'd you break away from that?
I realized that I was an addict and I needed help, and I went to the fellowship.
Yeah, and I think everybody really needs to understand that, I believe in God. I have no issue saying that. Believing in God doesn't always mean you go to church. It means you believe there's, all of this stuff didn't just happen.
A power greater than yourself.
Yeah, it didn't happen because somebody just threw something in a bowl and mixed it up. There's too much order that goes on in the world for all of this to be a coincidence. But it shows you how significant or insignificant you can be if you really just think that your purpose is in just serving yourself. People can be affected generations from now through what you do. And I understand we got to get that paper, we got to be on that grind, and that's cool, and I get that. But most people use things as a foundation that they're not proud of to get to where they're trying to go. So when you start to try to get to people like Mike Rowell, he's been in some places that he feels freely and unafraid to discuss. But he's using what his foundation was to platform and plateau to something different. I think that's what it's really about, using what you've been through to help
I
somebody.
got a question about that. So you say somebody might be doing something that's not too they can be proud of, right? To start off, when would that person know, hey, it's time for you to take what you got from there and apply somewhere else? And how do they know that what it is? You know what I'm saying?
Mindset. I have an uncle who says, and we'll wrap up the segment with this, every experience that you go through is a tool. And everything you go through can be a tool in your toolbox. Your custom-made toolbox is for you to build what your dream house is. Because you have a unique set of experiences. Everybody in this room, everybody in that audience, you have a unique set of experiences that can make you build something that nobody else can build. Nobody. Because nobody has your exact same experiences. If you don't use your toolbox while you're still healthy enough to build something, and everything falls down, you didn't utilize your toolbox. If you can use this as a tool in your toolbox to build something bigger, better, and greater, All that was is the foundation. And we know how hard times build a strong foundation for those who make it out. We know that. That's all it is, a foundation. So don't feel judged for people who was on the street hustling, people who was out on the street tricking. I'm talking about this stuff. People who had to do stuff to pay their college tuition. People who had to do stuff to keep the lights on for the kids. That's the foundation. That's not the destination. So keep that in mind. We still got to keep building. I want to give a special shout out to Rival for coming on, sharing his story. Not everybody's willing or even brave and courageous enough to do that. So I want to give it up for him. Thank you for tuning in. This is Straight Hip Hop. Straight Health and Hip Hop. We doing it big. Next segment coming soon. Thank you to our sponsors.